Reza, let's just talk about Jimmy Carter's legacy in the Middle East. He was actually on a good track there. Things were going well, particularly with Egypt and Israel. It is a peace, by the way, that is held since 1979. But Iran, things turned with Iran, and there's even new reporting on it to this day. But tell me about that and how we look at Jimmy Carter with respect to the fact that when he started, Iran was an ally. When he left, Iran was an adversary.
Well, recall that when Carter came into office, part of what he had planned to do was to clean house in the CIA, to remove the kind of Nixonian, Kissingerian, realpolitik national security apparatus that was in place and that had gotten the United States in so much trouble around the world. And he was going to refocus America's foreign policy towards a more pro-democratic alignment, if you will. And certainly when it came to Iran, this was considered wonderful news. I mean, for most Iranians who were living under the dictatorial regime of the Shah, I think many of us thought that Carter was going to be our salvation, our hero. He was going to come and really read the riot act to Shah Pahlavi. And indeed, in 1977, he did make a trip to Iran. I was a 5-year-old boy there, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I was actually out there welcoming his motorcade as it drove slowly through Tehran. And what I can tell you is that there was this euphoria in the streets, a real belief that this new American president was going to reverse course on America's long-standing support for the Shah and looking away at all of the human rights violations that were taking place in Iran. And then, of course, quite famously, there was the state dinner in the Shah's palace in which Jimmy Carter stood and gave that famous toast to the Shah, where he called Iran an island of stability in an unstable region. And I think that was the moment in which Iranians felt emotionally betrayed by Jimmy Carter. And I can tell you, it was an experience that I think most Iranians, particularly those who supported the revolution, never forgave him for. And it created this sense in Iran that Carter couldn't be trusted. And throughout the 444 days of the hostage crisis, there was a real sort of desire, particularly on the part of Khomeini and his followers, to make sure that Carter suffered for that toast. And as Jonathan, I'm sure, will be able to tell you, there were numerous negotiations back and forth. There were numerous times in which there was almost a breakthrough where the Americans were almost going to be released into Carter's hands, where at the last minute, Khomeini pulled the rug out from under him and indeed made a conscious decision not to release these hostages until 1 minute after Reagan was inaugurated.